Larry Fedora is the next offensive coordinator at Baylor, and we got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, we need to talk about Larry Fedora, who is tagged as the next offensive coordinator for Baylor University. And this is quite an impressive staff that Dave Aranda is putting together. First, taking Jorge Munoz from LSU. This was an offensive analyst there, but also the heir apparent to Joe Brady as pass game coordinator. That's a really great hire you got to coach your wide receivers and possibly do the same thing that Brady was doing with Fedora. And I'm going to unpack that here in a little bit. But also keeping Joel McGuire on staff. And I really love the pairing of Aranda and Fedora together, two analytically minded coaches who really love to play call and really love to dig into the minutia of what works and what doesn't. And one of the things that I think is a hallmark of both of their schemes is they build in counterpunches to whatever it is you want to run. If Dave Aranda sees something, you can guarantee there's a beater in there for something that you want to flex to out of a different look. Same thing with Larry Fedora. He is going to take what you give him at the line of scrimmage and run from there. Like, his idea of balance isn't 200 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. His idea of balance is, hey, if you're going to load the box, we're going to throw the ball. If you're going to drop 8, we're going to run the ball. You usually can't do both well, right? That's his whole philosophy. A defense can stop you from passing. A defense can stop you from running. Rarely can they do both. And usually when they can, they win a national championship game or are playing for a national championship game. As a matter of fact, Larry Fedora's been so good developing quarterbacks that he's got this reputation of being kind of the dude that does that. But you got to remember, that man came up coaching at Baylor, Middle Tennessee State, of course, Oklahoma State, Southern Miss as a head coach, UNC as a head coach, was a Texas offensive analyst here in this past year, making about $25K, but he was still making about $3 million from the buyout from UNC. And that was really cool because we all thought that perhaps he might get elevated to that offensive coordinator role with the ouster of Tom Herman of giving himself up. And yes, Tim Beck, among others. But that's not how that worked. Larry Fedora is really, really into the numbers. Going back to his days at Baylor in '92, he started charting and keeping track of the play-by-play data from every single game he was a part of. So conservatively taking a look at this, right? Let's say you run 80 plays in a game. Let's play there are 10 games in a season. That's 800 plays over the course of a season, right? Now multiply that times about 27 years, and you can get a tremendous trove of data to pull from. So much so that he can tell you how many third and longs you're probably going to get, how many third and mediums you're probably going to get, how many third and shorts you're probably going to get. And then he has a percentage for how many of those he thinks you should convert to be successful, and he's going to look at your defensive data to see what you like to run and how you like to run it. And one of the reasons I like Jorge Munoz and Larry Fedora as a part of this offensive staff, say nothing of what Joey McGuire might be doing with Dave Aranda, is that it is a collaborative effort to try to get the best play on the field at the time. He invites ideas from everybody throughout the week. He has an immense playbook, but they only put in so much of it on a Tuesday when they go through their week-to-week preparation. The installs are fierce. He wants everybody to be detail-oriented, but he comes from a background of learning at the knee of Fisher DeBerry, who ran triple option at, yes, Air Force. And at the time that Larry Fedora was there, they went 22-4, and he was still trying to get Fisher to throw the ball out there. I think, one, because he's a wide receivers coach at the time, and two, because he really does want to take advantage of the weakness of a defense. And if you're going to load the box on them, force them to back off by throwing the ball. We want to throw it so we can run it late. You'll hear a bunch of coaches say this, but I think what makes Fedora just a little bit different is he's shown he can do it with whatever quarterback you want to give him. He turned Chris Leak into a 3,100-yard passer. People forget that he was the offensive coordinator at Florida before Dan Mullen was. Goes to Oklahoma State and gets the best version of Zach Robinson that we could possibly get. As a matter of fact, I think that Spencer Sanders is a better version of Zach Robinson, to say nothing of what he was able to do with Austin Davis, a walk-on at USM where he was head coach that was a 4-year starter. Larry Fedora will take whatever he has at his present and see if he can make an offense out of it. And usually it works. As a matter of fact, it works so well They went 11-1 2015 with his offense at UNC, and they broke like 100. They're in the record book 130 times. I know that in 2015. But they also have the record for points scored in a season. They have the record for total offense in a season. They were a juggernaut. They go 11-1, make the ACC title game. They lose to that 2015 Clemson team, but the score they lost by, 45-37, right? And that team goes and loses to Alabama, I believe 45-40, somewhere in there. Somebody's going to check me on that in the comments. But if you're just going to lose to the eventual national runner-up, you can see how good he was as an offensive coordinator and what their defense was able to do. And this is at North Carolina. This is not a traditional, what we would think of, powerhouse, though North Carolina's been pretty doggone good at football for some time, just not elite at football for some time. This is another reason why I'm so bullish on Mac Brown in this next year with Phil Longo and Jay Bateman and the like. But I really love Fedora with his look, with his bent on what he thinks offensive football should look like, and just how deep into it he's willing to go with you. Remember, Seth Luttrell was an offensive assistant for him, right? Seth Luttrell has been doing pretty good work in North Texas with the exception of last year. I think they're going to get it right. I think the hiring of Mike Blesh to be his offensive coordinator is truly going to help them out. Another thing I really love about Larry Fedora's offense is that it also has a foundation in what Rich Rodriguez was doing, right? In that we're going to spread you out and we're going to go fast. And in going fast, you're trying not to just keep the defense on their heels, because what does that mean? It means keeping them in their base personnel. Because if you don't have time to load up that gun to fire, guess what? You're constantly just trying to put shells in there and get rounds off while the offense is still going. Now, to do that, you got to be able to run the football, right? And the difference between what Larry Fedora was doing with Fisher DeBerry and Air Force and what Larry Fedora was doing the last time he was calling plays is he just got rid of the fullback, right? They go 4 wide, 3 wide. They want the A-back to be the guy, and they're going to try to beat you with 11 personnel because, 1, you can recruit better to that, and 2, you'll be able to throw out of that a lot better. I also like this because Rich Rodriguez is, well, when his offense works, it works. I mean, we saw what they did against LSU earlier in the year with John Rice Plumlee running for over 200 yards. They ran for over like 400 yards total. They were able to move the ball, in large part because they would just take advantage of the space that was there, and they used a lot of misdirection to try to get Jacob Phillips and the like moving in the wrong direction and take advantage of that with a very, very, very fast quarterback. But if you don't have a Zach Robinson type, like John Rice Plumlee is, then you're going to be able to throw the ball more because that's that dude, right? If you can't run it, you better be able to throw it. Otherwise, what are you doing playing quarterback? And then the thing about Baylor that I love the most is Joe McGuire's still on that staff to help you recruit the state of Texas, because that is the thing that will hold Baylor back if anything does. They're going to be outstanding when you talk about their strategy and their scheme on both sides of the ball. They're going to be outstanding in their coaching. They're going to be detail-oriented. They're going to have a cohesive unit of guys that know what they're looking for and know how to evaluate film. They're also going to need those guys to go and close in recruiting battles, because we're talking about a Baylor class that ain't that good, man. It's not even top 50. It is 10 out of 10 in the rankings in the Big 12. But if Baylor can recruit, they can be damn deadly in this league. Now, I don't know what they could do outside of this league. We'll wait for them to try to see if they can't do something in year 1. But when you put it all together, they get a quarterback, if they get a couple of wideouts, if they get a nose guard, if they get some safeties, they're going to be good. They're going to challenge everyone. That includes Oklahoma. I love that this league is inviting SEC coaches in. And I also love that Texas had Larry Fedora right there as an analyst, and they decided to go another way with Mike Yurachek, But also, think about what Mike Gundy must be thinking right now, right? Because he's watching guys that he gave jobs get jobs again in this league. He's going to go up against them. That's going to be a lot of fun. Remember, he hired Larry Fedora and he hired Mike Yurachek. Why am I saying Yurachek? I'm saying Hunter Yurachek. Arkansas AD. Mike Yurcich. You knew what I was talking about. Anyway, I like that, right? I want to see more of that. I would love to see what it would look like for some of these guys that are on Lincoln Riley's staff to get coordinator positions and go up against him. But that's also just me looking for things to talk about as well. But more than anything else, I'm giving this hire an A. I want it to work. I want everybody in the Big 12 to be good. I want them to challenge Oklahoma because Oklahoma wins the conference and then goes and gets destroyed in the college football playoff. And I believe that if the iron sharpening Oklahoma or the Big 12 champ, whatever, is that good, yeah, perhaps this league can get past this reputation of being maybe the third best league among the Power Five. All right, that's it for me. Doses.